Good morning, y'all. Now, this is crazy to me. I swear I just woke up the other day and it was Monday. It's Thursday. What are you going to do, right? Well, it's first thing in the morning. Well, I guess we're a little later than first thing in the morning, but the only thing we really can do is step into the goddess realm. Good morning, y'all. Happy Thursday. I hope you are having an amazing day so far. So, funny thing, I actually woke up really early this morning and I was like, I'm going to sleep in. Then I woke up again. Well, my dog woke me up and I was like, I'm going to lay here for a little bit. Cut to rolling out of bed around 8 o'clock, but what are you going to do? Charge it to the game. So, I'm a little bit late, but what is the purpose of creating the life you want to live if you can't roll with it? And for me, that's not being restricted to calendars and time schedules. So thank you guys very much for being patient with me. Grab your water. You know the deal. Let's social it up. Chug a lug. Hit like when you're done. Oh, if I can get it open. Holy cow. What is in here? This tastes delicious. I'm going to go with rose quartz. Yep. Can always tell it just has the softest, most gentlest flavor. It's got the fever for the flavor. Okay, I'm being silly. You guys, thank you for all your messages in my PM yesterday. I really appreciate that. And so I did respond to everyone. Please make sure to check your messages. Excuse me. I'm just checking to make sure that we are live and good to go on Facebook, of which we are. So let's dive in. Thank you, God. Thank you to our goddesses, our angels, our guides, our fairies, our crystals, everything. Thank you for all our wonderful guidance and direction and the wonderful support that you've been giving us over these last several months. We ask that you please continue to guide our readings, make them clear and concise so that we know how to apply them to each of our lives. We also ask that anyone who hears this message be blessed by it. And all these many things we ask in unconditional love. Amen. All right, y'all, let's dive in. Let's dive in. Where is our message coming from this morning? It's coming from our goddesses. I'm going to sit back. Thank you, dear goddesses. What do you have for the goddess round? Okay, got you. I'm going to do something a little different today. Something just a little different. Okay. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Spread the deck. And how many cards are we getting? 3 cards. That was a resounding 3. I'm going to get this card. We're going to get this card. One more. This side. Okay. All right, y'all. We've got our 3 cards for the day. Let's dive in. So, for our first card, oh, sorry, that was for me. For our first card, we have Una. Easy does it. There is no need to hurry or force things to happen. Everything is occurring in perfect timing. This is interesting because I feel like this is the 3rd time, I know for sure the 2nd, but possibly the 3rd time we've gotten this in like the last week alone. There is no need to hurry or force things to happen. Everything is occurring in perfect timing. What's awesome about this, guys, is I'm actually getting this card in my own personal life as well. One of the things that I take from this in particular is that we know that we're blooming. We know that we're in this new season. We feel ourselves in this new soil. We feel things happening, like we're sprouting, we're taking root. And so really just to understand that everything is happening at its perfect time, right? We don't have to force anything. We don't have to worry about anything. What if? Will it be on time? I have this and this and this I need to accomplish. Everything is taking place as it needs to. So as we sit back and we just get in that state of being, right? Not in that state of doing, but in the state of being. And as we are in the state of being, then we naturally do the things we need to do that lead to what it is that we're creating at the time that we're out to create, that it's to show up here in the world or in the physical world. And so again, just like, for example, flowers, just like plants, just like a farmer, there is a time to, to prepare the soil. We've been prepared. There's a time to plant the seed. We've been planted. There's a time that the seed starts to grow, right? It starts to actually sprout. Then it takes hold, it roots, and then it busts through the soil, and then it begins to grow. And then further on, there's a time for harvest, right? And then we go back and we prepare the soil for winter again, to repeat the cycle all over again. So understand that easy does it. Things are happening as they are supposed to. Get accustomed to be in a state of being. Sometimes I think we get so excited and we get information overload that we just want to, like, it needs to happen now, it needs to push. And then those are the things that start to create those feelings of lack, those feelings of disappointment, those feelings of what if and insecurity and fear. Because we're worried about things when we really just need to be in a place of being and know and understand within our hearts that what we have asked for, that what we are creating is coming to life. And here's the other thing with that. When we get in that place of lack, because we're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have this yet, right? We're not looking at what we do have and what's around us and appreciating where we're at. We start to create those feelings of lack. And now that is the vibration that we begin to send out in the world, of which that is exactly what we attract back. So Una reminds us, easy does it. Be in your place of being, knowing that everything is taken care of, that you are fully supported as you walk in your life purpose. There's no need to hurry or force anything to happen, because the fact of the matter is, if you ask for it, you're going to get it, but you might not be ready for it. All right? So everything is occurring in perfect timing. All right, our next card, Sedna, Infinite Supply. You are supplied for today and all of your tomorrows. You are supplied for today and all of your tomorrows. And again, I love this card because it is a reminder to us that we're taken care of. Una just told us, chill out, you're fine, you're protected, you're guided. Things are happening. Maybe you don't see it with your physical eye, but know that things are happening. And Sedna is here to remind us that we have an infinite supply. We are goddesses of infinite abundance. We don't walk in a place of lack, and that we're supplied for today and all of our tomorrows. Not just today and tomorrow, but all of our tomorrows. So as we hold that vibration and we remember that we have an infinite supply, that we are constantly taking care of, that we have everything we need, that I don't have to force it, I don't have to rush it. And again, we begin this is part of the creation process. We hold that vibration, right? We know beyond a shadow of a doubt. We've gone from a place of believing to a place of knowing. And then, hi, Nicole. I think this is, I don't know if I want to call it my favorite card, but it's definitely the card that I quote every single day. Diana, focused intention. Keep your unwavering thoughts, feelings, and actions focused on your target, and you will make your mark. Keep your unwavering. She didn't just say keep your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Unwavering. Keep that solid vibration. That's unwavering. Knowing and understanding, along with your thoughts, feelings, and actions, right? We're constantly moving towards what it is that we want in our thoughts, in our feelings, and in our actions. Focus on your target and you will make your mark. Just focus. Breathe and focus. So let's recap here real quick, because this is just pretty clear and direct. And I don't know that we're going to get any more today. Una, easy does it. There's no need to hurry or force things to happen. Everything is occurring in perfect timing. Sedna, infinite supply. You are supplied for today and all of your tomorrows. Not just today and tomorrow, but today and all of your tomorrows. So again, we don't have to rush. We don't have to force anything. We're supplied for. or we have the supply. We have an infinite supply. Everything's occurring in perfect timing. Things come as we need them. Don't rush them. And again, to not focus on what we don't have or what isn't coming, but to keep our unwavering thoughts, feelings, and actions focused on our target, and we will reach our mark. Understanding just how powerful our thoughts are, just how powerful our feelings are, just how powerful our actions are. So for a lot of us, at the end of the day, what just kind of whammied me, at the end of the day, for a lot of us, this is all going to boil down to discipline. Disciplining our bodies. Disciplining our thoughts, right? Disciplining our emotions. You know, I gave y'all the example the other day of how I found out that a big $800 charge got wiped, was taken out of my account. And my initial instinct was to freak out. And I even was like, and I was trying to cry, but I wasn't feeling it. But my mind was like, you need to freak out right now. And my heart was like, chill out. And I had to catch myself. And I had to discipline my mind to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. How are you going to talk about goddess life, goddess life, goddess life? Hey guys, we got to heal the hurts and pains and get rid of the feelings of lack. And then you're going to freak out over a charge. You're infinitely supplied for, not only today and tomorrow, but all of your tomorrows. So again, it's not only disciplining our actions, maybe again, if the goal is to get healthy, maybe we need to be working out. Yes, we need to discipline ourselves to go actually work out in whatever form you want to work out. But we also have to discipline our minds about how we think about working out, right? Because if we look at it as, oh my God, this is going to suck. And this is something that I'm really working on personally right now. And primarily because I've never had workouts that I knew I couldn't go do. I have a coach that I've been working with for about 3 months now, a new coach. And I show up at the gym sometimes and I'm just like, oh my God, I spent 5 minutes in the middle of an exercise yesterday on my phone procrastinating because I didn't know that I could do it. It was a push. So I say all that to say I had to discipline my thoughts about Sharita. This isn't about what you can't do and it hurts and it's hard, because in the past that would have defeated me and I would have just honestly given up halfway through my first set. And I had 5 sets of 50. But what I had to do was turn around and focus and remember I had my clear intentions and why I'm doing this. And I was able to shift my focus from this sucks, this hurts, I don't wanna, I can't, I've never done anything like this before, to okay, you know what, everything starts off a little difficult, but it does get easier. But guess how you are gonna look in the beach in September? Do what you got to do to discipline your thoughts. Even for me, being something as shallow as how I'm going to look on the beach, in a bikini. But the fact of the matter is that I had to discipline my thoughts. And as soon as I changed my thought about it, it was ridiculous. I even called my husband. I got through my 3rd set and I called my husband on video chat. Babe, I don't want to do this. He was like, yeah, I need to get it done. I even texted my coach. He was like, come on, Sharita, do 10 reps at a time. Get through it. And the instant I started thinking, okay, Sharita, you got to change your thoughts. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. Guess what? I whizzed through my last 2 sets. Yeah, I had to do them 10 reps at a time, but it wasn't tragic. I literally felt the light come within me. So I share all that to say that you may find yourself in a situation where this is the time. Remember, we've been talking about reinventing yourselves. You may find yourself in a situation where in the past you reacted, that way. Now that you're reinventing yourself, give yourself permission to think and act and be a new way in that situation, right? So I'm really just I feel like that's kind of the central message of today. This is discipline, not only with our bodies, eating healthy, which we know we are supposed to do, because as we nurture our bodies, we nurture that vibration. Again, we want to be feeding our bodies life. We don't want to be taking in dead, stagnant food that depletes us, that shuts us down, That is anything boxed, prepackaged. We need to be focusing on with this, guys. This isn't just about disciplining our bodies, but we got to start looking at the way we look at food as well, right? Food isn't just something that's yummy and we eat it to satisfy this, that, or the other. Food is nourishment. It is life-sustaining. You are either feeding your body, your spirituality, and your mind health, or you're feeding it death and destruction. There's no two ways about it. There's no two ways about it. So not only in disciplining our minds and our thoughts, and not only disciplining our actions to do the things that we need to do, but we also have to be disciplining ourselves to understand that we are nurturing not just our bodies, but our spirits and our minds with the food that we take in. Total wellness is mind, body, and spirit. And I want to, I'm trying to just debate how deep do I want to go into this right now, because we're actually doing really good on time. So I want to make sure to keep it that way. But at the end of the day, guys, really when we're taking in those, from a very practical standpoint, when we're taking in boxed food, maybe it's boxed mac and cheese, you know, whatever, whether we're feeding them to ourselves or we're feeding them to our families. What we are literally doing is we are feeding our bodies enzyme deficient foods, right? We're not even talking, we haven't even gotten to nutrients. We know that it's nutrient void, but we are feeding enzyme deficient foods. Every single cell, not just the digestive ones, not just the brain ones, not just the lung ones, not just the fingernail ones, every single cell in your body needs specific enzymes to function. So when you are feeding it, your body, dead, stagnant food, it's like, think of every little cell as a factory. You are literally causing the factories to start to shut down. And as they shut down more and more and more and more and more, guess what sets in? Oh, disease. Is it no wonder that we see a rise in all the diseases in the world? You know, 50, 60, 75 years ago, if a kid had cancer, like, people would fly in from all over the world to study this because it was so rare and so unheard of. Nowadays, we have entire hospitals, entire infomercials devoted to kids with cancers and leukemia. It is so ridiculously common. And yes, some of these babies are born with it, but understand that those things happened in mama's womb prior to conception. A lot of that stuff happened beforehand, even in generations past. So when I don't mean to be so dramatic, and I'm not at all blame shifting anyone, because the fact of the matter is we're not educated in these things. We're not taught these things. And we don't live in a world where we're actively incentivized to understand these things. We live in a world of, you know, when it breaks down, I'll fix it later. We don't live in a world of preventative care. So understand, when we're feeding our bodies, we are literally shutting down the cells. And as the cells shut down, two things happen. Either one and or two things happen. The cells begin to shut down, and eventually we get disease starts to set in. Or the cells, in an amazing way to survive, this is how amazing your body is. You got to look at it from different perspectives. In an amazing attempt to survive, your cells will then mutate as an act of survival, and we call that mutation cancer. Drops the mic. We call that mutation cancer. So what I find absolutely fascinating, sidebar, I know I'm sidebarring here, but I want to stress this because we've spent so much time talking about the spiritual aspect and the mind aspect that we really got to start to get back into incorporating that physical aspect and that nutrition aspect. So I apologize for the sidebar, but I don't apologize because it's necessary. But just understand that we are either feeding our mind, body, and spirit health, or feeding it death. Period. Oh, that's what I was going to say. The fascinating part about cancer cells is when we watch them under microscopes, and we see this in the natural industry all the time, in the holistic industry. But you can take cancer cells and you start feeding them nutrition, oxygen, because a lot of us are oxygen deprived. We don't even breathe deeply. Guess what? They start to revert back to normal acting cells. We see that in the body. How many times have we seen stories about people, and I'm not even trying to be funny, because we see these all the time. I juiced and I started eating healthy, and I started exercising and I walked a mile a day and I turned down the chemo and I've been cancer free for 20 years. Chemotherapy, according to oncologists, chemotherapy, I don't even know if I want to go there. It's not even, we have to know and understand terminology. There are cures. There's no such thing as a cure, really. That's a story for another day. But what they talk about is in survivability rates. Yes, we've had a 98% success rate that people lived past 5 years. So if a person got cancer, or let's say they were diagnosed with cancer today, 2 weeks from now they started chemo, a week later they fell into a coma, and then they were in a coma, but they were alive, be on support up until 5 years and 1 day, that person is now considered a success. We're not talking about people becoming healthy again. We're talking about survivability rates. You got to understand the words and the terminology. But the fact of the matter is, regardless of all of that, the mumbo jumbo, the technical stuff, and I'm not calling it crap because people's lives are saved by chemotherapy. I want to give all due respect to the science behind that. But what I want to say is we have far more control before, during, and after that process. Far more control with not only our thoughts and our feelings. And y'all got the other thing I want to interject in there is a lot of disease sets in. It manifests from the spiritual realm. And I'll bring that full circle here in a second. But when we control our thoughts, our feelings, our bodies, the food we put in it, the water we consume, we are literally feeding ourselves life. Let me stop and read here. Nicole says, fuck, excuse the language. You're at home. We're good. But this hits home this morning. I ate some freaking frozen pizza last night and I instantly regretted it. I love your message right now. The food thing is huge to me and the science behind all the dis-ease. Correct. Not disease, dis-ease. She said, you cannot enlighten completely if you are poisoning yourself with food and water supply. Don't get me started on chemo, girl. LOL. You and me both. You know how I know how you feel. And you know how I feel. So, I've had to change my stance on things like chemotherapy because not everybody in the world has the understanding and the access to, I'm going to rephrase that. Not everybody in the world has the understanding or the mental capacity to appreciate their own physical, mental, emotional, spiritual power in healing themselves. And so for those people, they need an alternative, and that alternative is doctors. And there are a lot of people's lives who are saved by it. However, there's duality in everything, right? So in an effort to control my vibration, in an effort to speak positively, because we got the rattle. Remember we talked about Isis and the rattle a couple of days ago, and we create through our words. I want to make sure that I definitely am not disregarding and talking negatively and downly about doctors, because they there are a lot of amazing doctors in this world who do good. So that is me making sure I clear up any karmic debt as well. But I genuinely do feel that way. I've had to change my opinion on that, because I used to be like fuck chemo, forget that, how dare these people lie to the public, and chemo's $1 billion industry. It's not that there is any falsity to those thoughts. It's not that they are wrong or untrue. It's just that I have to look at them from a different perspective, right? Okay, I gotta get some water real quick. So really, guys, I want to make sure that as we're doing these readings, that we are not just focusing on the spiritual and the mental aspect, that the physical aspect is so important. I think that is, again, part of the reason why we've been getting, the cards about nature. Because working in nature, it's not only working in nature, but consuming that nature. We've been getting solis, bodies of water, quite a bit. And again, what have I always said? It's not just about being in, around, or near water, but consuming it as well, right? So focus, unwavering thoughts, feelings, and actions. That includes the food that we take into our bodies. That includes the thoughts that we have about the foods that we take into our bodies. So I want to kind of talk about this for a hot second, because I saw something on Facebook yesterday that freaking, it really kind of, at first glance, it annoyed the shit out of me. But as I thought about it, I was like, it made me feel sorry for the person. There was a picture on Facebook. It was a meme, and it was this picture of this fit woman who was clearly in like her 50s, but she was banging, had a six-pack going on. It looked like maybe she was in a bike race. And the caption said something to the effect of, when you're fit and healthy and take care of your body. Something to that effect. So I was like, oh, this is so awesome. I went to go comment, like, this is awesome. Good for her, you know, whatever. Like, because I'm always inspired by those things. And I see all this negativity, and people are like, too bad she's never going to eat the food she enjoys and she's still going to die. And I'm like, what the F are you freaking talking about? Like, it was so many comments like that. I had to go through like 10, 12 comments just to find one that was like, good for her. Her hard work is showing off. Okay. So here's the reason why I bring that up. And I'm checking my time here. I want to not be 4 hours like normal. Here's the reason I bring that up, because I want to talk to it from a different aspect. Never mind the cards. Let me come back here. When we are thinking about, right now I'm talking about, we need to be eating healthier, right? And so for a lot of us, we just try and, I'm going to start taking in vegetables. I'm going to start taking in this and that. And like, we don't like it. It's nasty, right? It doesn't taste right. So here's a couple things we have to remember. That the food, the crap, the shit, the you know, I love you, Nicole, the frozen pizza, because those things are quick. They're easy. And I'm not going to say that I'm not perfect, or that I'm perfect. You know, I will say I'm not perfect in the eyes of eating 100% healthy at all times. You know, it's something that, it's an evolving thing we all work on, and there's give and take balance. But what I'm saying is, there are a lot of those foods, they taste good going down, but like you said, Nicole, once they get in our stomachs, we're like, for those of you who are not at that point and you're like, frozen pizza's delicious, I enjoy it, it fills me up, just understand what's in that frozen pizza that makes you think that it's delicious and you're enjoying it and what have you. It's full of a lot of chemicals. It's full of a lot of neurotoxins. There are a lot of neurotoxins in prepackaged food. Everybody's hip to MSG, right? MSG is a neurotoxin, and that's the big thing. No MSG. Well, just know that they reclassify it. There's other labels to it, that it's almost always present. In addition to that, a lot of times we're eating things like, in that crust, that's wheat, right? So we're taking in the gluten. But in addition to that, we do things like spike our blood sugar. And when we spike our blood sugar, then it causes us to want more sweets, and it causes us to have more cravings. And it's kind of like when we eat Chinese food and everybody says, oh, but you're hungry an hour later. You're hungry because you just ate a bunch of freaking carbs. You know that you're full, but you're craving food because you spiked your blood sugar. So I say all that to say that you have to discipline yourself in not, you know, it's not an overnight thing. Some people actually do it overnight, and I congratulate those people. I have yet to become that girl. There's a transition phase, but understand that we have to discipline our minds and our thoughts towards the new healthy food, and understanding I'm doing this to fuel my body. Last night, I was literally sitting there eating lentils and collard greens, and I was just like, it wasn't that it tasted bad. It just wasn't at all what I wanted. But I was like, Sharita, you're fueling your body. You're giving your body exactly what it needs, right? You're feeding your body life and sustenance. And so when we start to look upon the new foods that maybe don't taste as well, a little different, it starts to make that transition a little easier. Here's the other thing that really annoyed me about the comment that I read about that post. The guy was like, you know, she didn't even get to eat any of the good foods and she's going to die anyway. Well, yes, we all but we all leave this earth at some point. But the fact of the matter is, when I thought about it, I was like, oh my God, this poor man is a slave to his taste buds. That is one of the most unempowered things I could think about, because I say that because I've been there. And from time to time, I still dip back with that. To be a slave to your taste buds. Do you know how uncontrolling, to me that just screams, I have no control of self. I can't control my mind, because we got to understand that taste is in here. Your body doesn't care what it tastes like. It needs the nutrient density. It doesn't need flavor. Flavor is here. He's a slave to this. This man may be missing out on potentially years with his family, with his children. He may get those years, but in those later years, he might be infirmed. He might have unnecessary illness, heart disease, diabetes, what have you, dementia, Alzheimer's. All because he was a slave to this. Spiritual enlightenment, better understanding, flowing of positive energy, all those things he could be missing out on. I'm not saying he's going to, and I sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, hope that he doesn't. But when I read that comment, at first I was annoyed. Then I was like, oh my God, this is sad. This is actually sad. This is why they call it the American diet sad. The standard American diet. It is sad. That is the mentality that people have. And I want to follow that up with this. As we start to get healthier, just like you said, Nicole, and as we eat better, when we start to take those things in, our bodies, A, begin to reject them, and B, those flavors aren't even good anymore. Like my husband and I, sometimes there are days where we're really like, you know what? And this is me, the meat loving vegan, right? And I don't claim to be a vegan. I just happen to eat vegan intermittently, okay? But some days I want a burger, and we're like, we can't go get fast food because it all tastes like shit. When you eat a certain way, when you're eating healthy, when you're eating real food, you can't go back to eating that. So the part that was frustrating to me was here he thought this poor woman was sacrificing just to look cute. But in reality, the stuff that he thinks is delicious, she don't even like anyway. So she's not missing out on a damn thing. But as a matter of fact, not only is she not missing out on anything, but she's gained so much more in enjoyment in her life, in enjoyment in our bodies. And as women, I know y'all can relate. Sometimes we look at our bodies and we do not enjoy what we see. There have been times in all of our lives. If you are somebody who has absolutely loved your body and has thought it has been perfect from day one to now, my shiro. I no hate. Mad respect. But I can't speak for men. And I'm not to say if any men happen to catch this on, for those of you who may be watching on YouTube, I don't know what y'all experience, but I do know as women, when we look at the images, we look at things on TV, we look at Photoshop, that there are times that we look at our bodies and we're just like, I wish I could tuck here and firm up there and here. And what I've come to realize is that is a feeling of lack. That is a feeling of lack. So when we learn to love our bodies wholeheartedly as they are, I love every inch, every little dimple, every little wrinkle. Just because I love it doesn't mean I have to accept it permanently. If you want to, that's fine. This is a personal journey for you. But because I love my body so much and I see it with loving eyes, not from lack eyes, it actually motivates me to want to do more and more for it, to shape it, to mold it, to nurture it, to feed it exactly what it needs, what it's supposed to have, right? So I really just, again, I want to focus on total wellness is mind, body, and spirit. And we have to understand that the food that we take into our bodies affects every last one of those things. Not to mention things like sugar. And again, we talked about eating the wheat. If we're eating bread, we're eating tons of crust, what have you. Those things are, and I would love for you guys, just in your own time, just do a little research on on wheat and brain activity. You're going to find some things across the board, but Do a broad search, do an enlightened, look from an open point of view, and then make up your own mind about wheat. But understand that as we take in these things, that they are depressants. Alcohol, right? Sugar, wheat. They depress our bodies. They depress our systems. If they are depressing our bodies and everything is connected, what else do you think they're depressing? Right? Your spiritual vibration. Because now we're tired and we're sluggish and we're craving more sugar. And then and sugar is a bitch in the sense that it is a cycle from hell. And once you get back on that cycle, you get off sugar and you get back on it, it really only takes like going to the movies and having a pack of Skittles, like one of the big, like the king size, and like some popcorn and a soda to kick off that whole sugar spin all over again. And then before you know it, what do you find? My pants are a little tight. My tummy's feeling a little jiggly. And now we're looking at our bodies like, oh shit, I don't like what I'm seeing. More feelings of lack. But now we're addicted to sugar again. I mean, it's a vicious cycle. And I know it to be true because I have lived it. I can't even tell you how many times. I really can't. You want to know my last big kick? In 2014, I was down to about 140 pounds. I was a little too skinny for my preference. But my birthday came. I was doing amazing in the gym. I was jogging regularly, working out, like pushing hard. I was doing leg press with 6 plates on each side. Like, it was insane, right? My birthday came. The night before my birthday, my husband said, what do you want for dinner? It's your birthday. Let's celebrate. And I was like, do you know what I want? Keeping in mind, I'd been on my meal plan steady, right? For a couple of months now. And I was like, I want ice cream. I named like 4 different types of junk food. And we went to the grocery store and we bought them. And I can't even tell you what that sparked off in my world. That is all it took. That is all it took. And I want to stop and give a shout out to drinking, because we all have probably had a drink or two in our lives. And we may have all been like, yay! In our adult lives, we may have a glass of wine from time to time. Just remember, alcohol is a depressant. But in addition to that, alcohol is sugar, 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 sugar. So if you're ever using if you're using my app, any type of other meal planning app, and it calculates alcohol for you, just know that that's what it is when it goes in. But once it's in your body, you really just consumed a fuck ton of sugar. Okay, so I think y'all are getting the point. Let me come back here and see what Nicole says. Nicole says, this journey had been great. I feel the changes happening in my way of thinking, and food has been a big part of it. I was actually thinking kind of cool. It was actually kind of cool of my body to go, F you. I know, right? To go, F you after eating a slice of pizza, and I stopped before eating more, listening to that inner voice. And Nicole, that's just it. You're so right. So many people's bodies speak to them and they just completely ignore it. So it's kind of like your body tells you, I don't like you eating ice cream. But then what do? We go buy some kind of lactase type of something to help the lactose intolerant eat ice cream. Your body just told you, stop feeding me this. There are people who, oh man, every time I eat such and such, I get heartburn. But yet they eat it 2 and 3 times a week. But then we just take some Zantac or whatever kind of heartburn medication they can find. Rather than to stop eating it and then, doing the things to reverse the condition. Just trust me, there's plenty to do. No, we live in a pill-popping society, which is no wonder it just blows my mind how we can be one of the most advanced societies on earth, like one of the most technologically advanced, but we could be the sickest. We could be the most health illiterate. Like, technology is amazing, but it's only amazing if we're using it to better ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So I just really want to make sure that we are focusing not just on mind, body, and spirit, because again, we're reminded, and I want to come back to these cards real quick. We're reminded that we're taken care of. We have an infinite supply, that things are happening as they are supposed to keep our unwavering thoughts, feelings, and actions, our focused intention on our target, and we will reach our mark. But we can't just walk around rah, rah, rah in my head, and I'm going to hold this vibration in my heart, but I'm going to shove this pizza, popcorn, ice cream bullshit, and I'm going to go out and party tonight and expect me to, you know, just be the same. Does that make sense, guys? So just know that everything that we're consuming, whether it's going in our mouths, whether it's coming in through our eyes, whether it's coming in through our ears, or whether it's coming in through what we're breathing, inhaling, that it affects us, mind, body, and spirit. I don't say this to pass. I don't want anybody to think I'm judging anyone. I don't want anybody to think that, you know, she's talking directly to me, I'm feeling convicted. Like, if you're feeling convicted, just roll with it. You know, it's not anything to look at I've been doing this wrong, or I've got to stop this. This is so bad. Don't beat yourself up. Just understand that next time you have an opportunity to make that decision, because it's moment to moment for me. I'm not even going to lie. I can't tell you that I'm going to be awesome for the next month. It is moment to moment for me some days, you know, and that's just how it is. We just take one decision at a time. Okay, guys, the reality is that it is now, you know, mid-late morning for most of us, getting close to noontime. Do we know what's for dinner? You know, so if we haven't planned out dinner, when dinner comes, we got to make a smart choice. Am I going to run through the drive-through, or am I actually going to go home and take the time to thaw out this whatever and whip up whatever, or go to the store and get, you know what I'm saying? And then people come with the excuse that, you know, eating healthy, it's so expensive. Bullshit. Bullshit. No, it is not. The reason why it's expensive is because you're trying to mix the healthy food in with and still buy the shit. Well, my kids won't eat that. Really? Because your kids pay bills and your kids buy groceries? I've never seen a child go on a food strike for a week at a time because they refuse to eat something healthy. Not to mention, there are delicious ways to make healthy food. So if you're feeling that type of resistance, open your mind up to some new possibilities, to some new ideas. Get in and do your homework. Do some research. Go on freaking, you know where my go-to is, for real? Especially if I'm looking for something vegan or something vegetarian. I go straight to Pinterest. Emails.com. I mean, there are so many things. Google. Kid-friendly vegetarian meals. Kid-friendly healthy meals. They don't even really have to be vegetarian. Kid-friendly healthy meals. It is not more expensive to eat healthy. And let me give you another tip. This is for all genetics, because you know I talk a lot about genetics or nutrition according to genetics. This is for all genetics and all, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. That the way that our meat is produced in this country, it would be healthy for everyone and financially beneficial to consider meat as an ingredient and not a main dish. Meat's usually one of the most expensive things on the grocery bill, right? Generally. If you can't eat organic, because organic obviously costs more than standard fruit and veggies, it's fine. Do what you can. Get what you can. If you're accustomed to eating McDonald's most weeks or most days, and then start even getting frozen vegetables is so much healthier. If you normally get canned, maybe try and transition to frozen. If you normally get frozen, try and transition to fresh. If you can only do a certain thing, maybe get organic on the Dirty Dozen. If you need, I'll try and remember to post the Dirty Dozen after this. I won't say the only ones. Those are the ones you just want to focus on for organic, but everything else is fine. Go to co-ops, go to farmers market. This is summertime, guys. Almost every municipality has some sort of farmers market, even if it's just Saturday mornings. Okay, so we got to break away from, because a lot of times when it comes to nutrition, we're still stuck in that lack mindset. We're still stuck in the, I can't afford, it's too difficult, my kids won't eat. Here's the thing, babies are incredibly adaptive because their cells are regenerating so quickly because they're growing. They are incredibly adaptive, but when we take the time to help them to understand and we make it applicable for them and we get them involved, even if it's planting a container garden on your patio. Even I get excited about that, but what kid isn't excited to eat the carrots that they planted in the bucket, right? Mom, are they ready yet? And it gives all of us a greater appreciation. And guess what? Now those babies have their hands on the earth too. Connecting with the earth, they may not understand vibration and energy and all of that. They don't have to at this stage in life. But they are now getting accustomed to a state of being, a state of eating high vibrational foods, a state of seeing my mommy walk around speaking things into reality with her voice, expressing herself. My mommy not walking around feeling like, oh, well, I can't do this, because kids pick up on all of that. And, I feel sometimes like I'm in a unique position not having kids. I get to sit back and observe. And I talk to other people's kids. And kids are brutally honest, whether they realize it or not. They keep it a buck. They keep it 100%. They keep it real. So just knowing that, a lot of kids learn through observation. So now you're teaching them just a way of being, and as they grow and get into the world, no, I don't really eat that, because it's contrary to what they're accustomed to. We know when we feel depressed, right? We're like, I just don't feel like myself. Sometimes it might take a few days. For some people, it might take a little bit longer, because sometimes we're so focused on getting things done that when we finally sit down, we're like, damn it, I'm actually kind of depressed, right? But by helping our babies to, and I say our because, they say it takes a village, so to speak, but in me and sending love, but in helping our babies to understand what it means to feel good, right? And most people, I say that because most people don't know how good they actually can feel. Just from simple things like changing their mindset, eating different foods, speaking different words. Like 99% of the people on this earth, I truly believe, don't know what it actually feels like to feel good. They have temporary moments of joy and happiness and peace and love, but for the most part, most people are popping pills on a daily basis. Most people are going, oh, my knee aches, rain must be coming, I can feel it in my joints. They just accept ish as a part of life. They don't, most people walk around wondering what other people think of them. Most people walk around hoping that they're good enough. Most people walk around feeling insecure in their own bodies, in their own skin, in their own clothes, in their own minds. Most people aren't even comfortable with the silence of their own thoughts. So when we can take babies and we can and just give them a basic understanding of what it is to just be, and they see it from you and they feel it from you, because what you are putting out, they are feeling. How many times have you walked in a room with people arguing? The room was silent. You walked in, but you instantly felt the tension. Kids are so perceptive to that, even more so than adults. They don't always know how to verbalize it, but they are so incredibly perceptive to that energy, to that vibration. Pets as well. I first noticed this with my first dog years ago. One day I started noticing, not that my husband and I argued regularly or even frequently, but anytime we would argue, he would just go off into the corner. And I'm like, dang, he senses this. And trust me, when my husband and I argue, we don't yell. We argue like I'm talking to you right now. But he could sense it. And even my dog now. And he'll just kind of curl up in a ball in the corner of the couch, like, okay, I'm gonna wait for y'all to finish whatever it is you're doing. But I say all that to say is that babies are so incredibly sensitive. So when we get in a state of being, when we get into a state of positive speaking and a positive thinking and letting go of the lack, the fear, the anxiety, the frustration, the disappointment in life that we've held and that we're now projecting onto everything else, when we let that go and we allow the abundance and the opportunity to flow and the acceptance of who we are. And accepting who we are doesn't mean that we're never going to be any, well, I just accept me for the way that I am and that's just what it is. We love ourselves unconditionally, wholly, and in doing so, we strive to become better and better, to walk our life purpose, to walk in our daily path, to focus on what it is that we are supposed to be doing that day. And knowing that as we focus on what we're supposed to be doing that day, today, that it takes us further and further and further. We don't have to worry about lack. Today and all of our tomorrows are supplied for. Luna told us straight out the gate, easy does it. There is no need to hurry or force things to happen. Everything is occurring in perfect timing. And then just as a triple threat, Diana comes back and says, psh, 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 focused intention, y'all. Don't worry about it. You're taken care of. Just keep your intention, your unwavering thoughts, feelings, and actions. So I want to stress, our thoughts, feelings, and actions aren't in the spiritual and just in the spiritual mental realm. They are there, not just there, but they are also in our bodies, what we're taking in, what we're consuming through our food and nutrition, our water, through our music, through the movies, the television, the Facebook, the social media that we watch. It is not a selfish act. It is not unnatural. It is an act of empowerment. There is nothing more amazing than feeling in control of your own life, being empowered to take control of your own life, to make decisions according to you. Empower. This is about empowerment of self. And in doing so, as we empower ourselves, we empower those around us. When they see other people, we've all done it. We've gone, like, I went to my lunch and learn last week. It was empowering for me to see this woman do her lunch and learn. Because what I learned was, oh my God, Sharita, I can do this for myself. Her letting her light shine gave me permission to let my light shine in that capacity. I was like, oh, light bulb. Why have I been so afraid of this? This is actually not hard. This is super easy. It doesn't take a lot to coordinate. And I can do it on a minimal budget, if not free. Okay, let me just stop here. Nicole says, my two youngest children have amazingly diverse palate and eat whatever high vibrational food I give them. Still working on the older kids and my honey, LOL. I know how that goes. And the little ones, again, because they're so incredibly adaptive. But the bigger ones and in our sweetie pies, trust me, I'm still working on mine too. I gotta whisper because he's out there. But I mean, what's kind of cool is I found as I just start incorporating foods in, maybe I have some mac and cheese, but I put something, delicious, a homemade green bean casserole with it out of cashew sauce as opposed to cream of mushroom sauce, right? And then he's going, man, babe, that's really good. My husband used to travel all the time. He worked on the road. He was basically gone about 75% of the time for a couple of years. And so when he got home, I would start feeding him home-cooked meals. And this is when I was first getting into my fitness journey and I was doing paleo and what have you. And so I would feed him home-cooked meals and I was feeding him natural meals. And he was like, man, babe, these are really good. Thanks. You want to try it? Because at the time, I was still a slave to flavor as well. And I want to say that it's not that I'm not a slave to flavor. It's just that my flavor palette has changed. So I don't have to worry about that. Or I don't worry about it as much. But anyway, he got to a point where he was feeling so good off the food. It wasn't even that so much that I would say he was feeling good off the foods that he was eating at home. It was when he went back on the road that he was like, damn, I can't really eat this stuff anymore. And then it really got to the point where maybe like the last year that he was on the road, when he was on the road, he was like, I don't even vary from anything else. He was like, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, because it would mess with his body. And then he felt tired and sluggish after. And not to mention, when he was on the road, he was working nights, driving from city to city, doing a lot of labor type work, working nights, right? So you need energy at night. And so what he found was, okay, I can only eat, for him, it was Jason's Deli. I have to get this particular sandwich. I get a salad. I eat my salad first, and then I eat half my sandwich, and then I have my other half of my sandwich halfway through the night, and then that'll get me until, you know, I can check into my hotel and get breakfast. And even then, he was like, I can only eat certain types of eggs. I can't eat everybody's eggs. I say all that to say, Nicole, I'm sorry to be long-winded, that, you know, we can kind of start to sneak attack them. Slowly convert their taste buds, you know, and we don't even have to say, here's this new healthy, you know, blah, 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 that I'm trying out. It's just like, hey guys, I got a new recipe. What do you think about this? Trying this out. And maybe it's chicken with rice with some saffron, you know what I'm saying? And maybe a different type of, I saw this veggie, or I thought I'd do the green bean casserole with the cashew sauce as opposed to the cream and mushroom sauce, you know, little things like that. Or maybe we make casserole, maybe it's our normal casserole, but we now use, you know, the meat instead as like an ingredient, or we substitute the meat for, with mushrooms. My husband made himself a tater tot casserole a couple of weeks ago. And he was like, well, I didn't want to do as much meat, so he actually substituted part of the meat with mushrooms. It worked for him. So I say all that to say, watch what we're feeding ourselves. And in doing so, I say this without judgment. I think I say it primarily out of frustration. I see so many people, and I used to see it a lot in our group as well. A lot of those people have kind of, I don't know if they don't get our notifications or they just aren't in the group anymore, but I would see mommies doing everything in their power to eat healthy and to eat right and exercise, but still allowed, and I say this with love, so please don't be offended when I say this, but still allowed their children to become slaves to their taste buds. And I understand that everybody has their own way of raising children, and I cannot judge that in any way, shape, or form, because your children are not mine. So I'll just leave that at that. But we have control over situations as adults, not only over ourselves, but as parents over our children. And so, you know, I grew up in a household eat or starve. You know, I'm not saying anybody else do that, but I'm just saying it is important that we not only teach our children proper life skills, that we teach them how to balance a checkbook, that we teach them how to be happy, fully integrated people who are productive society members of society, but it is also, I think, imperative that we lead by example and teach them to recognize, hey, my body doesn't like that, I shouldn't eat that. To recognize these foods make me feel good and they make me grow strong, you know. That one always worked for me as a kid. It's gonna make you grow. I'm gonna be strong. I'm gonna grow up and be big and be strong, you know, because I was a tomboy. That we help them to understand what it means to actually feel good, to not be on the sugar high. I mean, now granted, kids go to birthday parties, we go to birthday parties. It's not to say that we're not gonna have drinks with friends next Friday. It's not to say that, you know, we're gonna tell our kid they can't have cake and ice cream at their friend's birthday party next Saturday. I mean, nobody's saying that, but just to help them to understand generally, this is what we eat. We eat healthy because this is what it does for us. We feel good. We don't even have to necessarily break it down in the words because kids don't always understand that, but we lead by example and we get their little taste buds accustomed to eating healthy. And really, guys, I want to talk about this just briefly. Taste buds. So a lot of us are on, a lot of people, I won't say us because it's taken me a while, but I've had to work my way off of that again, even recently. The way to get off sugar. You want to combat those sugar cravings with bitter, something like those, like your bitter veggies, those real kind of like earthy tasting things. Now I'm talking about us as adults because we can mental our way through eating those things. But what you will find is that will help to detox that sugar craving, getting in tons of fresh water, plenty of rest. And I would say, while we're detoxing from sugar, stepping away from some of the sweeter fruits, focusing more on veggies. Now, for babies, for the kiddos, right? Not going to be the same thing. Maybe we want to start substituting in more fruits or more fruit in for snacks versus fruit roll-ups. Or if you're going to make fruit roll-ups, you know, go on Pinterest and do the natural version and get those recipes. It's super, super easy to make. I really feel like all you need is a blender and some fruit and a couple of key ingredients. You blend it up, lay it out on a cookie sheet on top of paraffin paper or wax paper, and then let it cool, and then you've got like natural fruit roll-ups. So I'm saying, I'm not telling you what to do, guys. They're your babies. Do what you want to do. I'm just saying, let's lead by example. Total wellness is mind, body, and spirit. And it's not just, we've been focusing so much on the mental and the spiritual aspect that I definitely want to take the time to focus on the nutritional aspect. So what I find funny is we were pretty much done with our reading at about 15 minutes, and here we are at an hour again. So my bad. But that's been weighing on me. And again, I want to make sure that we are balancing mind, body, and spirit. Nicole says, yum, Jason's Deli. I used to work right next to one. Oh my God, they smell great too. I totally get that. That's what I've been doing with Chris. Sneak attacks of vegetables that are my secret weapon. Yep. She said, my kids get lots. Where'd I go? Sneak attack. My kids get lots of spinach in their berry smoothies. Yes. You know, I saw a friend once. She was like my shiro after this. She's actually in the group. She hid beets in her kids' morning smoothies. And so they're used to getting their morning smoothies, and her kids are they've got a pretty diverse palate, like your younger ones. They'll eat, you know, they actually ask for fruits and veggies. These are some I love these babies. There's some high vibrating babies. But she said, I go, how did you sneak beets in? She said the first day it didn't go so well. She went a little heavy on the beets. It was a little earthy, and they were like, Mom, like, what is this? But she said they saw cherries sitting on the counter, and they were like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, go get dressed. And so when the smoothie came out red, they just assumed it was cherries. So what I say to that, guys, is there are ways that we can, like you said, sneak attack food into hubs, into into the babies. We have lots of options, but that one blew me away. Then when I think her youngest was turning 5, and she said, what do you want for your birthday? And her baby girl said, I want a fruit cake. Like, not the fruit cake, like the spongy cake, but like a cake made out of fruit, you know, like the watermelon. And it's okay. So I thought that was really cool. So we have lots of control to help them to learn to appreciate. And I think that's really what I'm trying to say, guys. I'm sorry. My words might have came out a little forceful, but I guess what I'm trying to say is it's important not only for us to be nourishing our bodies, because our bodies nourish our minds and our spirits, but it's also important for us to help those around us and our babies to understand and appreciate that nourishment and how good it makes them feel, you know, to get them in a state of being. Because one of the things I realized about drinking maybe about 7 or 8 months ago, might have been even closer to a year ago. I hadn't been drinking for a while, and then I went and we had a bottle at home or something, and I fixed a couple of drinks, and I caught a buzz. And I was like, ooh, I am buzzing. And I started laughing. And then instantly I started crying. And I realized, I was like, oh, I've been chasing a high. And this alcohol is close to it. It's close to that high, but it's at the exact opposite end of the spectrum of where I really want to be. And that was that natural high. But I was chasing it through booze. The other thing that booze was for me, it wasn't even about getting drunk, getting tipsy. Sugar. I would have drinks in the evening, and I realize it in hindsight, purely out of sugar cravings. Sugar. And we're not talking about the mixer. I'll have it on the rocks, because 9 times out of 10, I don't have a mixer in the house. But once it got into my body, that alcohol turns into sugar, and now I'm satisfying the sugar cravings. And FYI, the sugar cravings, aka parasites. So when you're feeding those cravings, 9 times out of 10, you're feeding the parasites in your body. Yeah, I'm not gonna go there, because that's a whole other story for another day. So think about that. And understand that the parasites within your body not only consume the food that you put in, but they also excrete. And those excretions, just like us in our bodies, are chemical. And those things affect us. You'd be amazed. This is why people always say when you clear out your digestion, you clear out your mind. It's not just a saying. You are literally clearing out the little creatures that are chemically influencing your very thoughts and decisions. I cannot tell you how many things I've read, how many articles, how many testimonials I've read where people have gotten over addictions by deworming. I hate to call it that. And I don't mean addictions like sugar addiction or food addiction. I mean gambling addictions. I mean sex addictions. We're talking about things because these are chemical things that are being produced and they're affecting your thought process and your decision-making process. People who've cleared out a lot of, who've alleviated a lot of mental illness symptoms by getting rid of the parasites. I'm not saying that these little parasites are, I don't want to make it sound all spooky like they're attaching to your brain and they're making you make decisions and you're a robot. I don't mean that. I just mean that chemicals that come at us affect us in different ways. Just like the food that we take in, it either raises us up or it depresses us. The alcohol, right? It's a depressant. You might feel buzzed, but you're depressing. Your system, your body is slowing down, right? So these chemicals that are being released by these parasites affect our brain function. And when our brain function isn't at our optimum peak, then we start to feel a little cloudy, which now affects our mental cognition because now we're viewing things from a, well, I'm kind of tired, so I can really only get this done today. And then we start limiting ourselves and we can only do this much. Before you know it, we're taking in more food and we're going, oh, my ass is fat, my belly, I've got arthritis at fucking 40. Excuse my language, but it's just so ridiculously unnecessary. I'm not calling anybody who has arthritis ridiculous. I'm just saying it's ridiculously unnecessary. And I don't care what the doctor says. It's reversible. When you understand not only the power of your mind alone, when you couple that with your vibration and then your body, what you're putting in your body, we are that unstoppable. So I want to hone in. Total wellness is mind, body, and spirit. We are being told, we are being guided and directed to just focus on what it is that we want. Do the things, think about the things, feel the things, say the things that support what we want to bring about. If we want to bring about health and wellness, we're not even talking about money, health, not wealth, but just health and wellness. How am I going to bring about health and wellness when I'm looking at the kale like it's, going to jump out and bite me and it's so terrible? Rather than saying, you know what, this kale is really going to fuel my body. Let me jump on Pinterest and find some ways to really kind of jazz it up. I'm really excited about this. Take control. It's about taking control. Not just of, yes, I worked out today, but how I thought about that workout, how I thought about that food, how I thought about what it is that I'm doing. Easy enough? All right, guys, I think you get the point. I think we get the message from today. So again, easy does it. Things are happening. Everything is happening as it's supposed to. We don't have to hurry anything. We don't have to force anything. This to me just says, get into a place of just being. Be who you are supposed to be. Just be. We're not forcing everything. Everything is happening as it's supposed to. Be who you are. Go ahead and let your light shine. Know that what you're looking for, what you asked for, is coming. Infinite supply. We're taken care of infinitely. Not only today, not only tomorrow, but all of our tomorrows. And in doing so, as we're just being, walking our life purpose, and we're taken care of, we're keeping our unwavering thoughts, feelings, and actions focused on our target so that we can reach our mark. Now, whether this mark is, you know, a physical place, a mental place, a spiritual place, a thing, a person, a whatever, it is mind, body, and spirit. So understand, again, that what you're putting on in your body, what you're feeding yourself, is going to affect your focused intention. How we're viewing ourselves is going to affect our focused intention. All right, guys. I love y'all so very much. Thank you so much for letting me ramble. I swear to you, my goal was like, we were right at 15 minutes and I just wanted to talk briefly, but you know, apparently there were some things that needed to be said because I didn't anticipate saying those today, but I did want to make sure that we got them out in the open. And just as always, guys, what is a goddess? A goddess uses her knowledge of universal laws of nature, her conscious mind, and esoteric powers to manifest her dreams. A goddess understands how to transform situations using her highest influence to make her visions and dreams a reality. And again, what is your highest influence? Is when you are vibrating at your highest, when you are operating out of unconditional love, when you are living a life of abundance. Okay, I think that wraps us up. Let's, out of water in that one. Let's social it up one more time. Goddess, have an amazing, amazing, amazing Thursday. I love you lots. I will see you back here tomorrow. I keep saying we're going to do shorter readings. I can't promise that, so it is what it is. I'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, I love you. Bye.